604 Talk 107.3 FM and WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. JP producing. We are back in studio this morning. We are back to school this morning. We are ready to rock and roll for your Thursday show. Oh, man. First of all, thanks again to Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple and his whole team. Brought me up there yesterday to broadcast live from the Department of Insurance's annual conference. Thanks to JP for holding the fort down back here, and Bo Wegman for being the on-site engineer to get everything running smooth. Great show yesterday. It was a wealth of information. No offense to anybody in the first or second hours, but that third hour when we talked to the insurance commissioners from both Alabama and Florida to get the blueprint of what they're doing right. All the content's available online at talk1073.com, or at least those interviews individually are at talk1073.com if you want to go check them out. All right. It is Thursday. It is back to school. We're starting you off at 75 degrees. Let's get to it. Top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Russell Richardson is leaving the Baton Rouge area chamber, heading down I-12. Richardson is going to be the new head of economic development for St. Tammany Parish.
Number 4.
Police officials arrested a man suspected in the shooting and killing of another man on Buchanan Street. According to BRPD, Nolan Daniels, 21 years old, was arrested for murdering Daryl Hamilton and injuring another person in October of last year. By the way, the shooting off Buchanan was Buchanan just off of Highland Road.
Number 3.
A New Roads vape shop is under fire after a major drug bust uncovered a dangerous mix of illegal substances, including fentanyl pills described as prescription drugs. Poicapi Parish deputies said they raided KC Vapes, found marijuana, illegal vape products, a handgun, and pills that were laced with fentanyl that were pressed to look like Percocet.
Number 2.
EBR Metro Council's looking for ways to make up lost revenue in the budget. At a special meeting called for yesterday, council members recommended that the city parish implement changes to retirees' benefits plans that could save the city up to $19 million annually. Now, the plan would switch retirees who choose to enroll to a Blue Cross Blue Shield Blue Advantage plan, which council members believe offers better benefits and comes at a lower cost.
Number 1.
School's back, y'all. EBR schools, diocesan schools within EBR, and a lot of the surrounding parishes are back in as of today. So, you know the drill. Make sure you're obeying those school zones. No handheld cell phone use, and just take a little bit of extra caution and a couple of extra minutes in your drive, as there will be more traffic on the roads with the buses out there. What's trending, JP?
Well, United Airlines flights started taking off again late Wednesday, a few hours after a system-wide technology issue prompted the carrier to halt departments.
So I was listening to America in the Morning in our last hour.
Yeah.
And it looks like some of those delays from yesterday are going to spill over to today. Because the problem came with the computer that manages the weights of all the planes, because you're going to have to know how much plane weighs in order to know how much fuel it with, right?
Right.
And so they had to shut down all the flights. They had to put a lot of people up in hotels last night and buy them dinner. So all those people are going to be looking to fly today.
Yes.
So
yeah, it looks like more than 60 mainline flights with more than 1,000 delays, 35% of what was scheduled. Wow.
Yeah.
Did not leave the air. So
no. Yep.
Wow. In other news, tragic news here, a U.S. Army sergeant opened fire at the Fort Stewart military base in Georgia on August 6th, injuring 5 of his colleagues before he was subdued by fellow soldiers and taken into custody.
Subdued. Taken into custody. Not put down like a dog and carried out in a box.
Nope.
All right.
Unfortunately not. All of his victims, though, are expected to recover.
That's a good thing.
So that's the good thing.
Silver lining, yes.
Yeah, but opening fire on a military base and living to
tell the tale.
Tell the tale is, yeah. And less tragic news here. ESPN is acquiring the NFL Network and a few other assets in a major new deal.
Saw that. Red Zone's going over to ESPN. The NFL Network's going to ESPN. Now, timeline-wise, I don't know how this is going to affect this season. Like, we got NFL tonight.
Right.
There's 3 preseason games tonight. So, like, timeline-wise, I don't know how this affects this season. But overall, that's a lot of power in one company's hands.
Yeah, it is.
But look, the NFL, ESPN does the NFL very, very well. So I can't hate on this. You know what? No, I'm sorry. I don't like it. And the reason why is because I like to turn to the NFL Network when I want a different voice than what is ESPN. When I want guys to talk football and not talk about political correctness.
Yeah, you may not be alone in that either.
You are losing voices when you do this. If I want a completely different perspective, then if you're ESPN, are you going to double up all your other forces as well? Like, am I going to lose all my fantasy football guys? Because fantasy football show, the NFL Network's fantasy football show is a different group of dudes than ESPN's.
So we're going to see this trickling down.
Yeah.
How it's going to affect all these different other
I have to imagine that long term, this is going to mean fewer people employed in the industry.
Let's hope not. But
I hope not. Coming up on 611 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Yes, it is the first day of school. We'll be talking about that on and off throughout the show. Cup of Tech Gumbo coming your way at 6:35. Haggai Davis is back from his RV trip. So I know we're supposed to talk technology, but there's no way we don't just swap RVs. So I went to like Robert and Washington Parish. Haggai went to like Montana and Washington, and I don't know, he may have even snuck into Canada for half a minute. I don't know. But like, he went next level. I went beginner lanes. I was on the bunny slopes. Like he went next level. So Haggai's coming up at 6:35. In the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to talk with Mark Olsen and Kris Kienzle. They don't like the proposed merger between EMS and fire. We're going to find out why they don't like it. We've had the fire chief on talking about this before. We've picked the mayor's brain about it before. It looks like a great idea. It looks like a good deal. But I mean, you know how it is when you're used to doing one thing one way, and any proposed change to that is going to cause fear. So we'll hear about their fear coming up at 7:15, 7:35. Crimestoppers coming your way. Lieutenant Don Capola is going to be in, see if we can't catch some bad guys there. Jam-packed 8 o'clock hour today. Jordan Generes, who is with BioJust and NeuroJust, is going to join us at 8:05. Very much looking forward to that conversation because I try to tell you about NeuroJust every day. Jordan will do a better job of that than I do. 8:15, Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois is going to be with us, talk about their 9x90 plan that they've got coming out. And then Joe and Nathan from the Baton Rouge Underground Film Fest going to wrap up our guest list at 8:35. Right now, before we take our break, the folks at Industry Makes are putting me on the road next Friday. I will be broadcasting live from L'Auberge Casino in Lake Charles, L'Auberge du Lac. I will be broadcasting live from there for the Legislator Conference. It's kind of like a half-day deep dive into a lot of big industry in Louisiana. Southwest Louisiana Chamber puts it on. The folks at Industry Makes are sending me out there. And was talking with some folks yesterday about putting together the lineup. We're going to have something special for you. We are going to have something special for you next Friday. It is going to be a good time had by all, to be sure. So looking forward to that, and I can't thank the folks over at Industry Makes enough for sending us out on the road. Want to learn more about them? Check out industrymakes.org. Quick break. Talk a little LSU football, a little Saints football next. Well, I guess that didn't print. Thought my stack felt light today. Yeah. spill over to the next segment. All right. Rolling over to 618 at Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. We're split sports in two here because I want to make sure we can cover all of it. Let's go ahead and start with, you know what, John? Let's do this backwards. We'll do the Saints first, and then we'll get to LSU on the back end. The New Orleans Saints offense is looking to put out a dangerous product on the field this year with new head coach Kellen Moore. Running back, former LSU Tiger, former Catholic High Bear, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, says Moore's new system is allowing him to be the shifty back that he knows he can be.
I love it because we have things that kind of showcase my skill set, and obviously, you know, I know I can run in between the tackles, but it's also being able to, okay, let's split him out. Let's use him as far as a receiver threat, and the play calls and what Kellen can do is endless.
Saints are in Irvine, California right now. That's what they'll be practicing for the remainder of the week. They're playing the Chargers on Sunday. Moving out to that different environment, Moore still wants to see his team get the most out of their practices.
We will shift to an afternoon practice. That'll be the main thing. Just our day will shift. But other than that, the intensity, the workload, very, very similar to what we're doing. We're still in training camp mode out there. That's the biggest thing. Like, this isn't, you know, a thing to go out there and have fun. We're still going to full normal training camp mode out there. And so it'll be excellent work for us.
Saints put out their first depth chart for 2025 yesterday. 21 positions on that depth chart. You might be saying to yourself, Brian, there are 22 positions on the football field. Yeah, and that listed a depth chart, or without putting out first team, second team yet on quarterback, which is really the only one we care about. By the way, when it comes to that very same depth chart, I'm looking at the clock right now. Kendre Miller's running second team at running back. So going to be curious to see where Clyde fits in on the Saints roster. Here's the Fox Business Report. Push it back to after the LSU stuff in the middle of the segment. We're actually looking pretty good to start off your first day of school, to be sure. You will find some slowdowns on I-12. Well, you'll find some volume on 12 westbound coming in around Range Avenue, then again around O'Neill Lane. I-clears back up again after that all the way up to the 10-12 merge. I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish is looking great. 10 making its way through the city is good as well, with the exception of as you get close to the University Lakes, you'll have some neighbors out there on the road, to be sure. I-10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish, we do see some heavier than normal volume right now on the upslope of the bridge. I-110 is looking good. And on your surface streets, only one accident to report right now, and it looks like it's been pushed off the roadway there. Nicholson and Brightside, Baton Rouge Police working that one right now. Gonna keep it moving right here on Talk 107.3 FM and keep it with sports real quick, checking in with LSU football. Tiger fans are going into the season with high expectations, especially at quarterback. Hard not to when the guy coming back is building off a 4,000-yard, 29-touchdown season. With that in mind, Brian Kelly talked earlier this week about where Garrett Nussmeier is improving.
Yeah, I just think learning from last year where he had those opportunities and, he didn't take advantage of them. I think he recognizes the fact that the quarterback position is not just about being static and throwing the football or handing it off. You've got to be able to use your legs. He's athletic enough to do that. So I think just education and realization, playing in games where he knew he had opportunities that he needed to do that. And then, he's smart. Like he knows that, he's not going to run the ball 10, 15 times a game. But if he can give us 5, 6 carries when we need them, it's going to make him more effective.
Rumors were swirling yesterday that Nussmeier may have been injured and had to be helped off the field during practice, not even after practice. Those rumors were quickly resolved. It has been reported that Nuss is just fine. He was seen walking under his own power afterwards. But since injuries are always a part of the game, how would the Tigers look if they had to turn to the next man up at some point?
I think it's the details. They're talented players. Both of them can play in the SEC, but talent is just one thing, right? You've got to be able to not have those moments where the ball's on the ground or, you throw a pick six. I just want them to eliminate the big mistakes. Let them be athletes. Let them be who they are. They're not the same quarterback. They have different kind of traits. But, what can you do? Again, I come back to this model of consistency is about, can you stay laser focused every single snap throughout the entire practice? And so that's really what I'm trying to get out of both those guys. And they've had their moments. We need to get it to a point where it's much more consistent.
LouisianaSports.net is your home for LSU practice reports. Matt Moscona, Hunt Palmer, they have been all over it, y'all. Every time they're allowed out on the practice field, they are there. Every time there is just a moment's worth of availability, and Brian Kelly's been good about availability, but every single moment worth of availability, they've got you covered over at LouisianaSports.net. Got to take a quick second to remind you about the folks over at NeuroJust. We'll get to take a deeper dive coming up at 8:05 when Jordan Generes is in with us, but for right now, I want to remind you about who they are and what they do. Neurojust.com, Neurojust. Neurojust.com. If you suffer from anxiety and depression, Neurojust could very well be your answer. If the face-to-face therapy doesn't have the results that you were seeking, if the prescription meds aren't showing you the results you're seeking, Neurojust.com is where you want to go. They specialize in transcranial magnetic stimulation. This is basically using magnetic pulses to stimulate areas of the brain that are involved in mood regulation. It is FDA approved. It is painless. There are no side effects because it's non-invasive. It's on the outside. Check them out at neurojust.com.
Take you over the limit. You know I'm only
Yes, sir. We are back into school today. East Baton Rouge and a lot of the surrounding area. In fact, most of the state getting back today. Some schools don't go back until tomorrow, but for the most part, today is the big day. We're at 6:29 right now, which means we're half an hour away from school zones being open. But it also means the buses are already running right now in EBR. In fact, on Monday, Lamont Cole, our EBR superintendent of education, our EBR schools superintendent, was the guest speaker at the press club. And talking about those buses, Lamont Cole dropped a lot on us about how they are much improved for this year.
With the development of the plan to close schools here in our
Nope, pause that one. I'm sorry. I did that one backwards.
We have nearly 500 buses that are routed, fully air conditioned, so we're really excited about our students being on buses that we know are air conditioned. We've added cameras to all of our buses to ensure that we know what is happening on buses in the event we get reports that some mischievous behavior has taken place. We can look and see who's right and who's more right. So we're excited about having that dual-layer video backup, live remote access, so if we observe something is happening, we can remote in and have a conversation and say to the bus driver and the kids on the bus, I may be on a loudspeaker on the bus and sit down. We're watching, so we have a GPS tracking system, motion sensor activation, and those drop-off hubs. So we're increasing and expanding our transportation system to provide support.
Still can't answer the phone, though. Here comes news.
Oh, man.
Every parent that's got a kid on an EBR school bus knows that hit home.
You say Big Brother's watching?
Oh, yeah. And good morning, Christy.
Hey, Ben, John. Doing all right. How about yourself? Man, great. I would ask how the trip was, but I'll save it for the segment. That way it's fresh. Right?
There's an old version of the Cup of Tech Gumbo intro that doesn't have a sponsor listed in it. Can you find that? If not, we're going to skip the intro.
Or just stop it early on.
It's in the middle of the talk, middle of voice guy there, yeah.
Yeah, we can skip it. We don't just run it. Just jump in.
We need to be told that it's 2025. We still need to be told when the stop signs come out on the bus, you have to stop. And you can't start again until the stop signs have gone back and the lights stop flashing. We need to be told that. It's in the driver's ed test. It's like every time it rains, someone will call the station saying, you need to remind drivers that if their windshield wipers are on, their headlights need to be on. I'm like, well, first of all, 95% of cars already do that on their own. And secondly, no, I don't. If you don't know that, you're probably not listening to the show.
You're probably more of a problem than.
Right. I'll be right back. Does it have general informatics mentioned? Yes. All right. No intro. No. 638 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We have got, as we do on Thursdays, we got Haggai Davis in for a cup of tech gumbo. Got to blast right past the intro. How are you, brother?
Man, I'm great.
Are we even going to talk technology today, or are we just going to yap about RVs?
Well, let's see where the RV goes first.
We would be remiss if we didn't start there, because you missed last week's show because you were like, I want to say hunting down Bigfoot, I think is what you were doing.
We were in the Pacific Northwest, and yes, we flew to Seattle and rented an RV, a big Class A, this 35-foot behemoth, and there were 5 adults in this. It was my wife and I and our 2 kids, and Haggai's girlfriend was with us, and it was a 1,500-mile trip. We went from Seattle to Spokane to Eureka, Montana, up to Banff, to Golden, Kamloops, back to Vancouver, to Seattle.
So you did sneak into Canada.
Oh, we were in Canada for 5 days.
Ooh.
Oh, it was amazing. That Banff, I've been to Colorado, I've been to Utah, the Tennessee mountains and all that. Banff is just different. I mean, those mountains are so much bigger and more spectacular. It was beautiful. I loved being there. And
I went to Robert and Franklinton.
I love the fact that it was also 70 degrees for a high.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
With almost no humidity, and we had great weather the whole time. We really lucked out. It was a great trip.
Was this your first time driving an RV?
No. We had an RV as a kid.
I was under the impression that this was you don't drive an RV as a kid.
Well, I mean, but I drove an RV when I was like 20. We went to Disney World, and I drove it a good bit. And a couple of summers ago, we rented an RV to take my 88-year-old mother to a family reunion in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've driven RVs before, but this was a brand new experience to this 8-foot wide and 13-foot high, 35-foot long behemoth was, especially when we were driving through Montana.
Mm-hmm.
So the Montana Highway Department only does construction on their roads for 3 months out of the year, because that's the only time they can get.
I would imagine they're limited, yeah.
But there were 5 bridges that we crossed where they had reduced it down to 1 lane to do work on the other lane. And the entire width of the road was down to about 9 feet. And I'm driving an 8-foot wide vehicle.
So don't look down, is your point.
You couldn't see the road. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. What you're going to visibly see is not road.
No, you these big cement barriers are all you could see in the mirrors that show, straight down kind of stuff. And there was a video of me driving across it, and after we get across, my entire body just went, oh. It was so much fun. It was interesting because, Waze says, okay, this is going to be a 223-mile day. It should be about 4-hour drive. And because you're in this RV going way, up for 10 straight minutes and then back down, became what should have been a 4-hour became a 6-hour drive.
Right.
And it just really was a lot of fun.
We definitely had a good time in ours as well. I mean, we didn't get to go see Montana and Vancouver and Seattle. We got to see the Adventure RV Park. We didn't have a 9-foot wide road. We had highways 40 and 25. I mean, it just not the same in scope, but the same in effect, though.
Sure.
It's amazing how traveling in an RV, and I talked about this before I took the trip. I was like, everybody has that little bit of John Steinbeck want to explore in you.
Oh, yeah.
And you kind of get bit by the bug.
Oh, it was so much fun. It was really fascinating, too. When we crossed the border, we were in Eureka Springs, Montana, and crossed the border there. There was one little booth, one guy. I mean, this was not a well-trafficked road, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of looked at us, he said, okay, what you doing? I said, oh, we're just here on vacation. All right, let me see your passports. Here's the 5 passports. All right, let me see everybody's face. Everybody come up to the window. He said, okay, that's it. We're expecting they're going to come search. How much food do you have on? And all this kind of stuff. None of that.
None of it?
No. It was total of 3 minutes to get through.
Is the president fixated on the wrong border here?
This guy was he was the nicest guy, and all he wanted to know was, did we have more than $10,000 cash and any guns? And when I said no to both of those, have a great trip.
Didn't bother verifying either one.
No, not at all.
No search.
Coming back into the U.S.
Full on We're the Millers scenario over here, where
when we came back from Vancouver into Seattle, we got to the border at the U.S. and now all of a sudden there's 6 lanes across, and they were doing random checks. I was sitting there. We were kind of 7-8 cars deep to get up there to it. And in an RV, I'm going through the same lane as somebody in a car. But every now and then, there would be a yellow light pull up, and they had to pull over there to the side, and they were searched. They would go under with the mirrors and open up the trunk, look through everything, and was fully expecting that I was going to get this yellow light and be pulled over, and they were going to come search through everything, and none of that happened. I mean, it was just, okay.
Interesting.
You're back coming. Yeah, here's our U.S. passports. Okay, did y'all have fun? Yes, sir, we did. Okay, go on through.
I mean, so then what you're telling me here is you are perfectly set for a second career as a mule.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, what was the Clint Eastwood movie?
Yep. Yeah. The Mule.
The Mule.
That's right.
That's right. And so, but it was a true bucket list kind of trip. Would highly recommend anybody to go do it. If you've not ever driven an RV, go rent one a couple of times and practice before you go to someplace high in the mountains with the turns that you face up there.
I don't know you can practice around. I mean, look, I highly recommend going over to Miller's RV on Florida. Absolutely highly recommended. I highly recommend driving all around Louisiana and exploring everything the state has to offer.
Driving over the bridge a couple of times, the I-10 bridge, is just get the idea of going uphill.
But there's never going to be a scenario where you're on a 9-foot road in an 8-foot wide vehicle,
right? And you're not going to face an 8% downgrade coming down the hill, and that was really fascinating too, because when you're driving through Canada and some of these places, the going uphill was 2 lanes, but going down was only 1, so that when you were puttering along at 25 miles an hour with your foot on the accelerator on the floor, but couldn't go more than 25 miles an hour, cars could pass you. Coming downhill,
I have no problem with cars passing me, by the way.
Oh, not at all. But coming downhill,
I feel like sweet Chuck from Police Academy. I was driving so slow.
I was having flashbacks to Miss Guidry's physics class in high school, because I was really getting in touch with my inner Sir Isaac Newton in the laws of physics, driving that RV downhill and with a turn at the bottom of the hill, and it was
knock on that.
It was fascinating.
Knock on that. Nope. Nope. Give me all that Louisiana has to offer.
Oh, look. I've never lived north of I-10. I've lived in South Louisiana my entire life. I have traveled around the world. I've traveled all across the 50 states, as many of them as I can. I always come back here, but man, it's fun to go other places and try other things.
I'm with you. It's just that those laws of physics do still apply.
And
you are pushing them.
They apply in Canada
you
just as much as here,
to be sure.
And well, I mean, it was. There may have. I bought a bottle of Wayne Gretzky Canadian whiskey up there just to try it.
Wayne Gretzky has a Canadian whiskey.
Yeah, and
it was good.
It was okay. It wasn't. I mean, it was. Wasn't going to be something you're going to go out of your way to import down here and share with your friends. But
I'm not a big Canadian whiskey guy.
I'm more of a Scotch person myself. But I mean,
tell you what, let's push pause right there when we come back, because we do have to break. We'll check traffic. We'll check your money now. We will do a little cup of tech gumbo coming up next. Song was random or on purpose?
Random.
Oh, shit on that. You didn't tell me about the guardrails. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I'd be scratching the shit out of that thing.
Look, you can't see down. Wait. Watch the end.
Nah.
Watch that one. 8-foot wide RV.
Oh my God.
And I had 5 of those that I drove through. It is. I had inches on either side of the vehicle. Yeah, that was just the kids had downloaded a Spotify playlist and something that I wanted to listen to, not their music, because I needed the calming sensation of music I would listen to.
Emptying the turlet was unbelievably easy and
Oh, yeah.
clean. You're not physically interacting with poo.
We stayed on every campsite we went to. We were on the power. We were running on water, and had all the connections hooked up. Black water first, gray water second.
Yep.
And didn't turn on it. There was a TV that would pop up. Didn't turn it on once. Didn't want to.
We had some screen time for sure, but I mean, you got 3 kids and a lot of rain.
Oh yeah, so we didn't have. We sat outside every night. We played. We brought a bunch of games. We were playing games.
We played a lot of Clue, and my oldest daughter cheats. Yeah. Okay. Do I need to tease leading up to 51? Kay didn't edit the log.
It was also cool to see how many people had Starlinks on their RVs. We didn't, but I mean, every campsite we went to, somebody had a Starlink dish outside, and hey, how's it working for you? Oh man, I love it. I mean, a lot of these people spend 6 weeks, 2 months at a time in their RV, though.
Couldn't do it. I can do with the kids. 4 days was enough. I think if it were like just me and Christy, a week would get it done. But I like the creature comforts too much. So does she. That's Rolling over to 652 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. And mornings with Brian Halliday rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo rolling right along. Haggai, let's get into some technology here real quick. What's, as you get back in from your RV trip, what's topping your charts, man?
So we had a whole lot of things to talk about this show. The Delta Airlines in their artificial intelligence.
We talked about this, and there's follow-up now. Go ahead.
Now there's follow-up. Initially, Delta had rolled out that, hey, we're going to start using artificial intelligence in our pricing. And
to gouge people.
Well, it wasn't to gouge people, but it was to help do pricing. Because right now, if you go to delta.com and I'm looking for a flight from Baton Rouge to Atlanta or Baton Rouge to Washington, D.C., whichever flight you want to take on Delta, you're going to see a price. But if you hit refresh, you're going to get a different price. Right. And every time you hit refresh, you're going to get a different price.
Right.
Because those prices are changing based upon Delta's numbers, the availability, all those kinds of things.
It's traditional yield management is what it is.
And so what Delta came out and said, look, we're going to start trying to use some artificial intelligence. And everyone immediately assumed, they're going to say, well, Haggai lives in South Louisiana, and he's been talking about a business trip on his social media, so we're going to charge him more because he's on a business trip or he's logging in from the office, so we can charge more, as opposed to what they're doing. They're, instead of using these numerical calculations or algorithms, if you will, they're going to use artificial intelligence to calculate availabilities, calculate routes, and whether or not, and so.
See, that's completely different than the way we talked about it 2 weeks ago.
It really is, because that's not what it was being proposed. And some legislators got really upset when they heard about this, and they proposed some new bill or something that would prevent Delta from gouging people by using AI for pricing.
I know Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy's come out very much against it, and there's a whole slew of lawmakers that are against it as well. And it makes sense to be against it because the way it was described 2 weeks ago was price gouging.
Right.
It was that using AI to determine you're booking a flight to Washington, D.C. from BTR, and on your Outlook calendar there's a meeting scheduled for noon. I could charge you more because you can't miss that meeting. That's gouging. That's the definition of gouging.
In at the time, Delta had said there were never going to be more than a 3% difference. So it wasn't like, if it was hypothetically going to be $100 flight, if they could get $107 out of it or $105 instead of just $100, that's what they were going for. Not $250 because you got this big meeting with this senator in D.C. to go to. All they were trying to do was get a little extra margin out of it, and I understand that
the amount doesn't matter; it's the principle of it.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but when the story first came out several weeks ago, it was really, we're just trying to, we can get an extra couple of bucks over 1 million tickets a day. That's a couple extra $1 million every day in revenue. Not trying to double or triple or really price gouge, just bump up the margins a little bit. Well, Delta got called on the carpet, and they've said, no, we're not trying to use it, AI, for specific to you, the user, because it would be, our pricing, if we do AI, wouldn't be any different if you used an incognito mode or if you log in with your account.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see the same prices that you would see any other way that you would, except when you hit refresh, and now you're seeing different prices every time. Or if you go through Priceline or one of those other third-party sites, those prices are still going to be the same according to Delta. It's just more about when they are setting the rates, because they've used artificial intelligence to do the more precise calculations.
Based off of what?
Based off of routes, based off of how many people are looking for.
Right. Every answer to that question is going to involve traditional yield management.
Right.
That's not AI.
Well, if they're they're running it through an LLM, then yes, it would be if they're using the LLM to make those calculations instead of just using spreadsheets.
What's the difference? At that point, you're talking about semantics.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
So one of the things that I don't like about it, and I read the article that you had sent, the follow-up one, talking about how they're moving from 3% of flights or 3% of tickets to 20% of tickets. They still don't tell you what the input into that AI is. They still don't tell you where they're gathering their information from. So, or what's different from yesterday to today.
Well, no, they're not. And when you don't open up and show all of the secret sauce, because they're not ready to let their competitors see what they're doing just as of yet. Even though they're a publicly traded company, you don't have to share everything.
Right. No, I understand.
And so they're trying to find a way to be just a little more profitable. And they're trying to, make a little more money for their shareholders. I get that. It just, like you said, the semantics of it just doesn't sound good.
Right. No, it doesn't. It doesn't sound any better than saying if you walk into a McDonald's, your hamburger is going to cost you based off of how hungry you are.
Right. And it would be interesting to see, there's, you've got to answer these 5 questions before you can order your McDonald's hamburger when you walk in the door.
How much time do you have for lunch? If you order right now, or if you don't like what you see on our menu, do you have time to go somewhere else for lunch? Because if you don't, it's going to cost you more. If you're starving right now, it's going to cost you more. If you have the ability to choose and walk away, we'll charge you less to make sure we get the money out of you.
That's the extreme to it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah. Get your full serving of Tech Gumbo Saturdays and Sundays right here on Talk 107.3 FM, and, of course, everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. He's Haggai Davis, fellow RVer, Haggai Davis. Always appreciate the time, brother.
Thanks, Brian.
Coming up on 7 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We got a busy second hour for you. School zones are in effect, so make sure you are paying attention to them. We'll be back after news. Tell you one of the things that I really, really liked about the RV is the fact that everything's a checklist. Like, everything is very procedural. Whether you're talking about emptying the toilet or whether you're talking about squeezing in the walls before driving, like all of it, like everything is pop, 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 pop. And then you double check to make sure. And then you go, like, it's all very user friendly, but you have to be thorough and intentional about it.
Absolutely. Because it won't start moving until your self-leveling is up.
Which, by the way, ours didn't self. I meant to get with Jeff about that. On our last night, we were on an angle, so Christy and I were like sleeping like up a little bit. And then you don't think that has an effect until you get up to pee in the middle of the night, and it's like, whoa, am I drunk?
Yeah.
Thank God I wasn't.
Yeah. But it was, and so this thing, even though it was 8 foot wide, when the slides came in, because it was slides on both sides, it left about 4 inches of walkway to get back to the bathroom, kind of stuff. So I spent the whole time in the driver's seat, but the family kept rotating as to who was sitting in the passenger seat, and whoever was in the passenger seat was 100% navigator.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and I was like, give me everything you're seeing, because I'm looking no more than 500 feet in front of me. Every now and then you look up to see the mountains or something, but, okay, you got a big bend to the right coming here. Okay, I see tail lights. Hey, the sign just said we're going from 70 kilometers an hour up to 90 kilometers an hour. Okay, what's kilometers again? Because this is miles per hour is on the speedometer here. calculate that down for me. And, you know, you could see the small print what the kilometers per hour were, but it just, whoever was, you know, okay, in 2 miles, we're coming up to our exit kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, all of those kinds of things. I mean, it's so intensive trying to drive that big, humongous beast. And, I mean, Galen's talking about how he drove a 44-foot Class A. And I was like, I mean, that's 10 extra feet. This thing was trying to get around turns in a 35-foot was unbelievable. Like, you had to, I felt like I was driving an 18-wheeler. I mean, you're so purposeful in the way you make turns and everything. But it did have for as big a beast as it was, it had a really good turning radius. I mean, I could really crank those wheels around.
It is impressive. I mean, I know mine was only 31 feet, but like, even with that, to be able to do, you know, perform a K turn or to back into an RV slip because the electricity is on the side that you have, you know, which everyone else is a seasoned pro at it, and they're like, there's no, like the RV park that we first stopped at, I could go in from the other side because it was a full pull through.
Yeah.
The second one I had to back in, and not the easiest.
The other thing that was surprising is how sparse civilization is in Canada. When we crossed the border, we went 30 miles before we saw the first house.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went another 40 miles before we came to any little town. And I stopped in this one little town just to get gas because I was down to about a quarter of a tank. I still had 200 miles, you know, of range probably, but I wasn't going to take the chance. I hadn't seen anything in a while. So we pulled over and filled up, and it was a great trip. Highly recommend it, though. Highly recommend going to Banff, even if you're not in an RV.
It's good stuff.
Yes. See you, Facebook.
Later on, yep. I'm going to miss Rotary next week. We have our quarterly all-employee meeting. It's always on a Wednesday. Whatever. Cool. Yep.
Hey, guy, as always. You bet. Have a good one.
7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. There is a national trend moving towards merging departments within the government. EMS and fire are at the top of that list. We got two guys in studio coming up in our next segment. That would be Mark Olsen and Kris, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, Kienzle, who are opposed to the idea. They're going to tell us why in our next segment. Also this hour, Lieutenant Don Coppola going to be stopping by for Crimestoppers. See if we can't catch some bad guys. That's coming up at 7:35. Right now, though, Brian here with you, JP producing, starting off your second hour at 75 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Let's go ahead and hit some top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Russell Richardson's leaving the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, heading down I-12. Richardson's going to be the new head of economic development for St. Tammany Parish.
Number 4.
Police officials arrested a man suspected in the shooting and killing of another man on Buchanan Street just off of Highland Road. This was back in October of 2024 when it actually happened. Yesterday, 21-year-old Nolan Daniels was arrested for murdering Daryl Hamilton and injuring another person.
Number 3.
There's a New Roads vape shop under fire after a major drug bust uncovered a dangerous mix of illegal substances. Point Coupee Parish Sheriff's deputies said they raided KC Vapes, found marijuana, illegal vape products, a handgun, and pills that were laced with fentanyl that were pressed to look like Percocets.
Number 2.
EBR Metro Council looking for ways to make up lost revenue in the budget. At a special meeting called for yesterday, council members recommended the city parish implement changes to retirees' benefit plans that could save the city up to $19 million annually. The plan would switch retirees who choose to enroll to a Blue Cross Blue Shield Blue Advantage plan. Council members believe this offers better benefits and comes at a lower cost.
Number 1.
Well, it's official as of 7.5 minutes ago. School zones are in effect, y'all. School is back in East Baton Rouge Parish, in the number of surrounding parishes as well. Actually, throughout most of the state, we got school back in as of now. Some schools don't let into till tomorrow, but if you're here in EBR, it's back to it. What you got, JP?
Well, United Airlines flights started taking off again late Wednesday, a few hours after a system-wide technology issue prompted the carrier to halt departures.
So this was the technology issue was their computers that like manage the weight of the plane. That's kind of important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think, right?
It's kind of a big deal because that determines how much fuel you're going to need, what it takes to keep you up in the air the whole time, and really when you're flying a plane, keeping you up in the air is an important part of that equation.
Yeah, just part of it. United had scrubbed more than 60 mainline flights late Wednesday with more than 1,000 delays, 35% of what it had scheduled, according to flight tracking site FlightAware. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, FlightAware is a great tool. It can also be like completely nerve-wracking.
Seems that way. Well, tragedy here coming out of Georgia. A U.S. Army sergeant opened fire at a Fort Stewart military base in Georgia yesterday, injuring 5 of his colleagues before he was subdued by fellow soldiers and taken into custody.
So the silver lining here is nobody died.
That's right. And those who were injured are expected to make a recovery.
Right. So that's an important part of the story right there, to be sure. To be able to avoid tragedy like that you wouldn't have a death. Same time, though, man, you're opening fire on fellow soldiers and they don't put you down?
Yeah.
Curious.
I know.
He was subdued.
How times have changed, right?
I know.
In other news, ESPN is acquiring the NFL Network and a few other assets in a major new deal.
Which, I don't. We were talking about this last hour, John. I just don't like it. Anything that leads to more consolidation in media leads to fewer voices being out there. And I know it's football; it doesn't matter, right?
But it's a good point, right?
I like the NFL Network's coverage. I like their commentary. I like their panel show, their studio show. I like their fantasy football guys better than I like the ESPN fantasy football guys. I like Adam Rank and Michael Fabiano and Akbar Bajamilia, who's been on the show multiple times. And of course, every time he's on, he's talking about American Ninja Warrior. But like, it's the being able to have different voices, different opinions, a different take. It's a good thing. And the more we see consolidation, the fewer voices we're going to hear from. There would be no reason for ESPN's NFL Countdown to cannibalize itself.
Yeah, because then,
Plus, I'll kind of go down the rabbit hole here.
Yeah. I didn't know if we had time.
No. I turn away from ESPN's coverage when it gets a little bit too woke. Mm-hmm. When I stop with the politics. I just want to talk football. Yeah. And that bleeds its way into pregame and postgame shows. It does. And the way the coverage plays out, I would rather hear from the guys at the NFL Network because they just talk football. Yeah. So.
And so now you're kind of, the fear is that there won't be other voices, right? That it'll be just one voice.
And that would be the voice of ESPN.
Yes.
So whatever their corporate, talking points are, whatever it is that their marching orders are, it's you lose variety. So 7-11 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Need just a quick moment to remind you about the folks over at Breck. Breck.org is the website. No matter what it is you're interested in, Breck's got you covered. Our parish's recreational department has got you covered. And not just with sports. Like we all know about all the sports. We know about the great, park system that we have. A lot of wonderful properties in Baton Rouge, maybe too many, but no matter what, they've got you covered for everything. And they kind of have to be all things to all people. If you go to Breck.org, I'm telling you right now, you're going to find what you're looking for. Whatever it is you're into. Whether you're talking about athletics, whether you're talking about just health and wellness, arts and culture, adult leisure, whatever, aquatics, whatever it is, a lot of things that don't start with A as well. Whatever it is that you're into, they've got you covered. over at breck.org, and they'll send you out in real life from there. Hit up your interests, hit up the calendar, maybe get to know the facilities a little bit better. Whatever it is that you do on a recreational basis, they've got you covered at breck.org. All right, quick break. Let's talk about merging EMS and fire next. All right, I got to move over one. In the calf. Gentlemen. Yes. Do you have any?
I can, yes. You sit here or?
I'm gonna move over here. So that's those two. Pronounce the last name.
You did fine, sir.
Kienzle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I've talked to the mayor and the fire chief about this. They haven't mentioned deficiencies anywhere along the way. They've mentioned redundancies.
Well,
Oh, by the way,
and that's
before,
cool.
before
That's
anything,
cool.
we're always on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't play gotcha, hot mic.
Oh,
anything
okay.
like that.
I'm glad you
I'm
said so.
I'm fully transparent with everybody. So there's no.
Well, this is what they posted on the Baton Rouge website. This is what the press was released,
Mhm.
and the highlighted things are basically the problems that they have with us. But there's no explanation of any of this.
Yeah. Here's the actual memo, Brian. And it said the transition about merging roles, about combining, blah 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 blah.
But you can't get specifics. You can't.
And there's good reason for that, though.
Yeah.
There's good reason for that, though, because this was on June 23rd. I had Mike Kimball on June 24th, and he said this is a discussion process first and foremost. So there's
Yeah, but once you on the 26th, he also sent out this, and onto the last highlighted area right there, the bottom highlighted area, it said that they would roll out this plan. Here we sit, August 7th, 8th,
yeah.
and they still have it. They said they do it in a week or so, and nobody has seen hide nor hair of this plan.
And
that
we
they're
had a big
talking about.
meeting yesterday or on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And they couldn't explain anything. They couldn't tell us what's wrong. They couldn't give us any specifics about anything.
And I guess you saw the advocate story, right?
Yeah, I
And
did.
Basically, he said, because I want to. Why is this more? Right. And that,
Wait. There is legitimacy to the cost saving end of it. It's there, yes. We're
how?
also do what?
How?
Combine training, combine billing, combine payroll.
right. The billing and payroll's fair.
Yes. All right. Rolling up on 717 to Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to pivot over here real quick and talk about the potential merger of EMS and the Baton Rouge Fire Department. We've had the mayor on about it. We've had the chief of police on about fire chief on about it, not the chief of police about it. We've had Mike Kimball on about it. We are an open voice for everybody who wishes to come to the table and speak. So let's hear from a little bit of opposition. We got Mark Olsen and Kienzle in this morning. Gentlemen, how are you this morning?
Fine. Thank you
Doing
for having
well.
us.
First of all, before we get started, and we probably should have done a little more prep on the back end, but I wanted to turn this around quickly because that Advocate article came out yesterday, and there was a meeting on Tuesday. So while this was still fresh on everybody's mind, I wanted to make sure voices could be heard sooner rather than later, because you don't want anything to go stale and people just, get apathetic.
Sure.
So thank y'all for the quick turnaround. That being said, are y'all here speaking on someone's behalf? Is there an overall formal group that you're speaking on behalf of, or you're just concerned citizens?
Well, it's a little bit of both. A bunch of us, I'm one of the original paramedics that was hired back in 1982. And so basically I was here for the entire development of EMS.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the third time that there's been a kind of a hostile takeover by the fire department. And so this isn't new. And so I've been through all this before. And of course, Kris there, he's been with the department. He just recently retired also, but that was just a couple of months ago. So he's very aware of everything that's going on.
Okay.
But we have a lot of concerns about, the tax millage, what's going to happen with that, response to other areas. If we be taken over by the Baton Rouge Fire Department, then we become Baton Rouge Fire Department. And then kind of how do we respond into those other areas, other fire districts, when you don't cross over unless you are, through mutual aid.
When you say crossover, you're talking East Side, St. George, and
Yes.
the
Correct.
like. Okay, so
Right.
so first point of contention is if it's going to be good for one, it's got to be good for all.
Correct.
Okay. And yeah, we are in a weird space right there that we do have 3 different fire outlets for our one city parish. It's just another example of why a consolidated form of government was dumb from the start and it's dumb today. But that's digging up more problems than we already have.
Right.
Let's
It's actually 11 fire departments across the parish, right? You got Zachary, Baker,
so,
Central, all
of course,
right.
of course.
So,
But just I'm for Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge East Side and St. George are kind of the big 3 that have
right.
played into this.
Sure.
Let's start with some of the basics here. You said you've been with EMS kind of since the beginning.
Yes.
And this is the third time you've heard a similar proposal. What happened the last 2 times?
It got to be very, very complicated, especially trying to mesh civil services together, budgets. They just got to be, legal got involved, and there was just a lot of unknowns, like there is right now.
Mm-hmm.
The department asked for, at least the association asked for, some legal opinions from the parish attorney's office. They haven't heard anything yet. There's a lot of how do you take an EMS? The big thing is for us to join their union. Well, it's a police fire union, and we're not police or fire. So how do we end up joining that? There's no information
I've
about
never
that.
seen a union turn down dues.
Right.
Well, actually, from what I understand, there was a vote by the Baton Rouge Fire Union, and they said no, they didn't want us to be part of their union.
When was that vote?
Recently. So
Okay.
they had the Baton Rouge EMS started their own chapter of the IAFF because they tried to join the Baton Rouge Firefighters Union, the local 557,
Okay.
and Baton Rouge Fire said no.
Okay.
So they formed their own entity and are now a union within EMS.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd like to be recognized by the mayor, and you could probably sort most of these things out if they would recognize the union that's already present within EMS. And so that's kind of where we're stuck right now is like there's so many unknowns. Where do we go from
So,
here?
and that's the point that I'm glad you're bringing up, because when we had Mike Kimball on to talk about this, he was like, the tenor of the conversation was, this is the very beginning of a conversation. This was open-ended. He said repeatedly, you are not going to see any changes immediately. What they're looking for are redundancies. Are there room for redundancies within?
I think yes and no, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, like you mentioned before we started on air, that certainly, payroll or maybe even research or something like that, absolutely. There probably could be some redundancies. And through attrition, I guess you could get rid of some of those positions.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, there are 14 positions in the Baton Rouge Fire Department that make more than our chief of operations.
Okay.
So when you start to talk about how much savings is there going to be, when you already have 14 positions that make at least as much as our chief or within $100 of what our chief makes on the top end, I'm trying to figure out where where that big savings is, right? Where that big ta-da is. Oh, look, we say, if we're talking about eliminating a PIO that makes $80,000 a year, does that really make a big difference in the whole scheme of things?
No,
when you're talking about millions of,
right. When you're
hundreds
talking
of
about
millions
making
of
a
dollars.
$40 million budget deficit, they're looking for every nickel they could find.
Right. And I think that the administrator from EMS, certainly with the fund balance that we have, could do similar something that Mosquito and Rodent Abatement did, Council on Aging did, the library did. Say, hey, listen, we understand that we need to be good stewards of our money and the taxpayers' money. And we understand that the best thing would be that we give something from our fund balance to the general fund to help this, right? I think that's fair. There are a lot of programs that the mayor may introduce, mental health programs, other medical programs, whatever, that we could take on and be like, listen, we'll fund these programs for you. I think that's a fair thing to think about and talk about.
We're talking about the potential merger between EMS and fire here in Baton Rouge with Mark Olsen and Kris Kienzle. Guys, I want to talk about the meeting that was Tuesday night. Were both of y'all at the meeting? I read the coverage of it. I wasn't physically at the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Give me the tenor of what's going on in the meeting, because it's feeling like this is there collaboration at all, or is this from y'all's end more of a push down?
Well, there's no collaboration because we're not getting any information. I mean, we ask, what are our deficiencies? Exactly. What do you want to merge? Where are duplications? And they never can give us an answer. It's always, well, we'll get back with you, or we don't know. And so it's been very, very difficult. And we kept asking, like, what major event took place for the mayor to say, I can't allow EMS to oversee themselves anymore. I have to put it under the fire department. And we can't get that answer. And so we keep
asking for an organizational chart or some other research that has been done that could show exactly what you're talking about. Hey, this is the redundancies that we have identified, and these are the ways that we can save money. That's fair.
Yes, and as I understand it, we're in that exploratory phase of this.
Right, but if we change Michael Kimball's job description through a civil service board hearing that we're not represented on by Baton Rouge Fire Department, Baton Rouge Police Department, and 3 at-large people that are going to vote on this, then we change his job description that he has control of the budget and he is the appointing authority for East Baton Rouge Parish EMS. Right. Then all of a sudden, how do you roll that back? You understand what I'm saying?
No, not really. Elaborate.
All right, so they're trying to change his job description so that now he's in charge of the budget and all personnel matters and everything else for EMS. Was supposed to happen at the last Civil Service Board meeting, right? Okay. We don't have representation on that board.
Okay.
All right. We hope that a large person would help us with that. There are 3 at large, a Baton Rouge Fire Union member, and a Baton Rouge Police Department Union member are on that board.
Okay.
So how do we get representation there? Right? Like I'm all for fairness. Yeah. I'm all for being fiscally responsible, right? If we ran our households like the government runs their household, we would probably be in jail. Right? Like,
100%. 100%. Well, I mean, and you look at the way it's been run for the last 40, 50 years, however long, and honestly, St. George has been the disinfectant that's revealed all the problems.
Sure.
So,
and we're not immune to understanding that. Like, and we want to help. And I think the administration from EMS could have done a better job when they first came in and started talking about this. Says, listen, do y'all need some money to help make ends meet so that we can all be collaboratively better?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Let's do that.
But there's a lot of things that can be done without even having to merge with.
Yeah, you could do that tomorrow without merging.
We are seeing, and this is another point that Chief Kimball made when he was on, a national trend of these mergers.
But that's it. This is a national, from the National Fire Association. This is their
and fire chiefs,
and this is their master plan, because fire departments' budgets are so big, they have to try to justify what it is, because fires are going down as the fire service makes things more fire resistant. Things don't burn like they used to, and construction
less than 10% of the fire department's calls that they ran last year were fires.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Over 60% were medical calls.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to do 2 things, right? Number one, I would like to reduce the number of medical calls that they run. right? So that they're more prepared to do the things that they have to do, handle hazmat calls, handle rescue calls, handle fires, do the things that their task and mission were for, right? That's what I would like to do. But it feels like that's not even in the conversation. But what it does look like on paper, if you just put it on paper next year and you look at it and you're like, oh, wow, the fire department made $30 million this year. Look, they didn't really make $30 million. EMS made $30 million through billing revenues that were generated and came back to the department, right? So
and then they'll be able to use our call volume. I mean, you can take a look at that. Call volume last year that EMS did was over 71,000 calls. Well, now they'll be able to take that and add that into their statistics to, basically look, this is what we're doing, because it's Baton Rouge, going to be Baton Rouge Fire EMS now, because we're going to be under this. So everything that we do now will become a part of their budget and what they get to claim. So when you have these large budgets, you'll have something, because otherwise, right now they don't. Fires are actually going down, just because of how things are going. So,
all right. We got about 2 minutes left here, but I feel like we're only at the beginning of the conversation.
Very much so.
As this thing evolves, we're going to get y'all back on at some point be sure. So right now, for the time being, taking what is out there right now, is there room for conversation to be had?
I think that's a question for the mayor. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if ultimately he's going to do this, he's going to do this, and we have no say in it whatsoever. Right?
To the mayor's credit, he's been nothing but open since taking office.
So far, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the one thing that we really need to talk about is the citizens and all this. Right? So you start to get a hodgepodge of EMS systems, right? He just approved Baton Rouge General to run some of these calls in the parish or whatever, right? Who vetted those paramedics? I don't know. And they may be very good paramedics. I'm not trying to slight anybody. But what I'm saying is that all of a sudden you don't control the consistency of the medics that you put out that serve the citizens of this parish.
Wouldn't a merger lead towards more consistency? That lends back to training.
But you're talking about fire training versus EMS training, which are completely separate. They wouldn't even, and they admitted this, that they would not be able to merge the training positions, because the EMS training is different than the fire training. I can't take fire training officers and they don't even have the right credentials. Okay. Just like I can't take EMS training officers and have them train firemen. We don't have the right credentials to train firemen. So that would be, even if you did, I doubt you'd be able to shrink it enough that it made a significant cost savings to do so.
Is the biggest concern here about redundancies not really being redundancies, or is the biggest concern here about autonomy?
I think the autonomy is one of the biggest things.
Okay.
But also, for me, one of the biggest things is that the people of this parish voted on this
to be
a long time in '82.
Oh, you're just about to trigger me here, because we voted on a lot of stuff.
Right.
We voted on libraries to build libraries, and we have these glorious libraries, and where they're at right now is we're moving back towards the center with that I'm losing my word here.
$116 million fund balance.
Right. But no, I'm saying undedication of funds.
Right.
It's things that we voted on in the past. I mean, we need to have a pool back in there, and I think y'all are both on board with that.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I have no problem.
Our mill has been the same 3.1 something since
3.13
for over 40 some years. We've never raised it, and so we've been living off the same millage for 40 some years.
Even though our call volume goes up roughly 2% per year.
I mean, so we're at 71,000.
We've asked the mayor's office.
We're messed up people. You're going to get calls.
Right, and we've asked the mayor's office for more units, more paramedics, time and time again in the budget. All you got to do is go review the budgets, and you'll see that we've asked and been told no. So we have to do more with less every single year.
Wouldn't that, well, all right, we're just like straight about it.
I got it.
I apologize. It's a live show. We keep moving. We've actually already blown right past ABC News. Guys, Mark, Kris, thank you all so much for a couple minutes. Keep in your phone number, because we're going to pick this up as the conversation evolves, to be sure. So thank you all so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Yes, sir.
Local news, traffic, weather, Crimestoppers next. That moved fast. Thanks again to Mark Olsen and Kris Kienzle for stopping by. A lot of conversation to be had here. We will toss the ball next back to the Baton Rouge Fire Department. It's the mayor's office as we move forward because it's a lot of moving parts. And the mayor is tasked with fixing a lot of things that have long since been broken. And to be fair to Coach Sid, not everything's going to be the right answer on its first take. We already saw that with the library, mosquito abatement, and council on aging. He's getting the ball rolling here. He's making sure that the way we've always done things shouldn't be the way we've always done them just because it's the way we've always done them. We'll pick that conversation up later. Right now, it's time for Crime Stoppers. Yes, it is time for Crime Stoppers, and we welcome in Lieutenant Don Capola. How are you, man?
Brian, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well. I'm doing really well, especially after last Saturday night.
Listen, I walked in, and what we're talking about is the concert, okay, for people who don't know. And I walked in and not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And, man, listen, it was amazing.
It really was. Ned Fazzulo and his fabulous big band orchestra are amazing. How about Ned's daughter?
Listen, MJ.
Pipes on that girl, man.
What?
Fills the room.
And she does some work with us with our website.
Mm-hmm.
And never met her, but I talked to her. Such a sweet lady. But to see her and then to hear, oh my goodness, it was amazing. It was
So
really
for those
amazing.
that missed it, there was a concert last Saturday night benefiting Crime Stoppers. It was Ned Fazzulo and his orchestra. The hits of Bobby Darin, which, by the way, I couldn't help but notice or put it together that when you're talking about benefiting Crime Stoppers, Bobby Darin's biggest hit of all time, Mac the Knife.
Mac the Knife, yeah.
A simple call to 344 stop, and Mac the Knife could have been caught.
Could have been caught.
I mean, if you know something about a body oozing life on the sidewalk, Scarlet Billows start to spread, call 344 stop.
And you remain anonymous.
You do. You don't have to worry about Mac the Knife coming after you. You remain anonymous. 344 stop, Mac the Knife gets caught.
It was a great concert, and Ned himself and his daughter and his whole orchestra did a fantastic job. And I know afterwards Johnny and I spoke, and we are looking forward to much more of it. And we appreciate everyone who came out, and being brought up on stage and just talking about the program. And it was a fantastic evening.
Yeah.
I'm not sure as far as the funds that were raised at this point in time, but for people to come out to support, to have a great evening, we're looking for so much more, and looking forward to the next time.
Mm-hmm. Same. It was just a great night across the board. Could not have written the script any better. I mean, even down to the weather. As everybody was arriving, it looked like it was about to storm, and it just stayed off.
And then once
we
you
were all
and the
inside,
missus walked in,
Yep.
I was hoping you would have got called up to sing, but
No, nobody wants that.
maybe
Nobody
next
wants
time.
that.
Maybe
And
next time.
not well. There was no alcohol present, so I don't sing.
Okay.
That's how that works. Somebody call 344 stop on me. As if I start singing. Closing the book on Saturday and moving forward. How are things?
Things are well. Things are really good. We our initiative Beyond Bars, Choices and Consequences.
When are we gonna do that on air?
I will get Dez and LA scheduled through Captain Patrick Washington and have them here soon.
Okay.
It's such a great event. We have people calling now.
Mm-hmm.
So if beyond the bars, choices and consequences, we have 2 current individuals incarcerated. They're DOC, Department of Corrections inmates. They come and tell their story. One is incarcerated on home invasion. The other is on a murder charge. And Brian, as we mentioned, the victims and offenders we see are getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
And I can talk, Johnny can talk, and there's no connection there. But with these guys, we find there's more of a connection to these individuals, to the youth, and it's just received more. And again, to go a step further, if a school administrator or someone says, "Hey, this person needs a little extra talking with," I'll give them my number. We'll check on them. They can reach out to me if they need to speak with Des or LA, and so it's just not a one and done thing. There's follow up that goes along with it, just to show that, hey, we do care and we want to see you succeed.
And to be clear, this isn't a scared straight sort of thing.
No,
this
not
isn't a
at
get
all.
up in the kid's face and shout at
No.
them till they're scared. This is it's a lot more heartfelt.
It's heartfelt. We were at Ascension had an event, a back to school event, the morning of the concert. We were there talking about Crimestoppers. Des and LA were there. Des is a licensed barber as well, so he joined in and cutting hair. He must have cut over a dozen kids' hair while having these conversations as far as, hey, this is where I veered off.
Mm-hmm.
I made this choice, and now I'm suffering the consequences. And just having those heartfelt conversations while getting a haircut, it was incredible.
It's such a worthwhile program. And it's just the reason I want to do it on air is because I don't like you and I can talk about it all day long, but to hear the impact, to hear the stories firsthand. We'll get him. They'll cut John's hair. Let him cut John's hair. That'll happen.
I'm for it, man.
Listen,
we can get you a little trim.
I need
I'll
a trim.
I'll get a trim.
Hey,
I go high and tight.
We can make it happen.
I go high and tight
And
all the time.
Brian, this is a free event. It costs you nothing.
Right.
For us to come out and just have these conversations, and it's really
important.
impactful.
Important asterisk on the end of that is high school only. Right. This is not for grade school.
Well, listen, we'll go into middle school.
Okay.
Okay. We spoke to a camp, 11 to 14-year-olds, because and there's a local school. We do the poster contest through Crimestoppers. A local middle school in the Baton Rouge area was like, when school starts back, because it was the end of the school year last year, we want you. We see our kids going off the path they need to stay on. So, but again, it's not a scared conversation. It's just having conversations, relating with these kids, and just getting them to understand that the choices they make sometime are life-changing.
We get Don Capole in with us for Crimestoppers. Actually, we only got about 2.5 minutes left, Don. We got any bad guys to catch today?
We do have some bad guys, but before we do that, we're going to jump on the Capital Region Crimestoppers Facebook page. And I'm sure you heard Saturday we've been talking about covering 8 parishes. We cover 8.
And you bumped up.
We bumped up to 9.
Yeah.
Assumption Parish. We're gonna start covering Assumption as well.
Okay.
But Baton Rouge police are looking. There's a unsolved homicide investigation, 30-year-old investigation of Lee Jackson. So homicide investigators, the Baton Rouge Police Department, are searching for information regarding the shooting death of Lee Jackson. This occurred. Jackson was fatally shot on Monday, December 5th, 1994, as he was driving through a parking lot in the 6900 block of Renoir Avenue. So anyone with information, there's some photographs of him, quite a few actually.
Those are photographs of Lee?
Of Lee,
Okay.
yeah. So we feel that somebody has information on this. It's been 30 years. Pick up the phone, go to the P3 Tips app, submit that information. Again, you will remain anonymous. We want closure for this family, and not only with Lee Jackson, any unsolved homicide that you're aware of, let's give closure to that family.
No, absolutely. And I mean, December 5th, 1994. That is
a long time.
Yeah, it is. That's a long time to go without closure for sure. So
I was young back then. I'm not.
December 5th, 1994. I was just in my senior year of high school.
Okay.
So yeah, class of 95 right here.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's I was actually just talking about the 30-year reunion. We got 2 minutes to go here in our Crimestoppers segment. Who else are we looking for?
So Baton Rouge police are also looking for DeMarcus Baptiste. Charges of battery of a dating partner with strangulation, battery of a dating partner, child endangerment, simple criminal damage to property, theft, home invasion, some more batteries of a dating partner, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and simple burglary. Brian, this is a case where, again, domestic violence.
Yep.
It's believed that Baptiste entered a home of a female acquaintance. An argument ensued. It escalated to physical. This happened on one day, and then he comes back 2 days later to continue the physical abuse. She has a handicapped child who unfortunately had to see some of this go on.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody with information on DeMarcus Baptiste, contact Crimestoppers 344-7867. Joshua Payne, also wanted by the Baton Rouge Police Department, domestic abuse, battery, child endangerment. Check out our Facebook page. Check out our website. If there's anyone you see and recognize that either we're looking to identify or searching for whereabouts within our non-parish coverage area, pick up the phone.
He is Don Capola with Crimestoppers. We always appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Quick break. Come back with This Day in History next.
What would be...
Was Mac the Knife on Facebook as well? Okay, good.
What would be the best for you? Because what I would like, if you're able to, whenever we have them here, if we could do a longer, instead of like just maybe extended. I mean, what do you think?
If we book it out far enough in advance, I can clear the whole hour.
I mean, do you think that would be? That would be probably better, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would like, so we would back up to 7:15 and run all the way till 8. So not a full hour, but 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that would be.
Basically, each one of them would have their own segment to tell their individual story, and then we bring it back for a 4-minute segment on the back end and just kind of wrap it all up.
You want to shoot me some dates? When
Yes,
you
I
get
do.
it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, just look and say, shoot me some dates. I'll get with Captain Washington with DPS.
Yep.
Since they do that transportation.
And
I think it'd be good.
so do I. I mean, just the same way they tell the story in the schools. So.
Outstanding. Thank you so
What's
much.
the next fundraiser?
Buddy, we have our awards luncheon October 2nd. Are you here?
Oh yeah, I'm putting it on my calendar right here.
At the Renaissance again. They do such a good job. Dude, I was really impressed with Ned, man.
The chick in the red. She was good. But
not lying.
MJ, holy shit.
Buddy, and the shorter guy. Kudos. Okay, but
you're on the stage with 3 people who just can crush it.
Buddy, and Ned was good, but I think MJ, Ned, and then that was, buddy, she was
there's nothing wrong with it. The only thing wrong with him was he was outclassed by everybody. Like he was, if nobody else is on stage, that guy would put on a decent show.
Yeah.
When everybody else puts on a better show, then he shows up.
And I'm excited to see when he does like a full Sinatra.
So I think Ned's next concert is going to be benefiting Casa.
Yeah, but when he comes back around or doing the Frank Sinatra, oh my God. It was great.
You bring up Sinatra, that house gets packed.
I don't know why John wasn't there.
You know what?
I don't know why John wasn't there.
I don't know. Don't know. John just does his own thing.
Sorry.
He, you know.
Sorry. We were looking for you Saturday.
For the Bobby Darin concert, for the Memphis Zulu thing. It's all good.
You know how many ladies were asking about you?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
And then I have to reject all of them. They don't care. I know they don't. I know. All right.
It's a tribute to Bobby Darin, so you can guess the median age in that room.
Thank you. Hey, shoot me those dates, and
I will.
we'll make it happen.
I will. We're good to go.
Good luck to EMS.
.756 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks again to Don Capola for Crimestoppers. Coming up next hour, we've got Jordan Generes with NeuroJust and BioJust going to be hopping on board at 8:05, which means we push this day in history up to just a second, because I do have to tease what's coming up tomorrow. I have zero show prep to do in the third hour tomorrow. You know that can only mean one thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, of course, the Louisiana Beef Industry Council brings us Foodie Friday every Friday. Beef@whatsfordinner.com, beef@whatsfordinner.com. But I have zero prep to do when one Troy Rocco Morrow is in the house. Yeah, Rocco's New Orleans Style Po' Boys will be in the house tomorrow. It will be unhinged. It will be unhinged. I cannot wait for this one. And I'm teasing it too much because when I tease it this much, something ends up happening and he has to go away. So we're going to stop right there.
Stuck in
I know.
traffic or something.
Yeah. The gas station ran out of Alani's, something. So, but that's coming up tomorrow, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Right now, this day in history.
All right.
Yes,
Starting off in 1606, the possible first performance of Shakespeare's tragedy Macbeth takes place in the Great Hall of Hampton Court Palace for King James I.
Okay.
Fascinating
Knock
stuff
it out.
there. Yeah. 1912, the Progressive Party nominates Theodore Roosevelt for U.S. president. So that's
my guy.
Yeah. 1954, get this. Johnny Cash married Vivian Liberto at St. Anne's Catholic Church in Memphis. Cash had plans of becoming a Memphis appliance salesman.
Wait,
and
what?
he instead formed a band with Luther Perkins and Marshall Grant and was signed to Sun Records a year later. So he was just going to be an appliance salesman. No big deal.
How would that work?
Right.
Johnny Cash is an appliance salesman?
Somewhere in a multiverse, there's a Johnny Cash that chose to be an appliance salesman.
All right. I can see that path.
Let's see. 1990 here. U.S. deploys troops to Saudi Arabia, beginning Operation Desert Shield.
Yeah. They're gone already. It's all right.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Hey, China bans the release of Winnie the Pooh movie, Christopher Robin, after the character is used to mock Chinese President Xi Jinping in 2018.
Wait, you skipped to 2018 there? All right.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries at all. How?
That's what I'm wondering.
All right.
I'm going to have to look further into this.
Hey, got to rewind the clock back to 2007.
Okay.
It was on this day in 2007 that Barry Bonds hit number 756. Yep. Juiced up as can be, but nonetheless did break Hank Aaron's record on this day. And oh, by the way, can I really dial back the clock, JP?
Yeah, let's go.
You ready for this?
What we got?
On this day in 1727, and I wish my wife was listening right now.
Wow.
But on this day in 1727, you know what happened?
What?
The Ursuline nuns arrived in New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Birthdays, what you got?
David Duchovny.
Okay.
Let's see. Also, actor Michael Shannon as well. Wayne Knight today. Remember him from
Newman?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Anybody else on your end?
Yeah, got Mike Trout, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts.
All right. Sounds good. As far as deaths go, Oliver Hardy. Of
yeah,
Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel and Hardy. That's right.
That's right. And then I knew I had one more. Peter Jennings also today.
Aw.
Yep.
That's a shame.
Yep.
Do you have a national day?
Purple Heart Day.
Yes, it is Purple Heart Day, and I'm wearing purple, appropriately enough.
Yes, sir.
8 o'clock, hour 3's next.
Whew. That was quick.
Okay. Jordan. Oh, appreciate you moving up, man. I had the economic development secretary was on the books for some time, and I was doing dates to Taylor without even looking at my calendar. So, but thanks for and we talking about BioJust today? We can. Or whatever one you want. I would mind if you gave the long form of what I do 60 seconds of with NeuroJust. Which, by the way, my wife is now begging to be in anything. For NeuroJust. Yeah. Awesome. Grab the seat with the arms on it, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, and we could always lead into BioJust with NeuroJust, talk about the overlap. Hormones play a big role,
Yeah.
and also like they mimic a lot of the symptoms: depression, anxiety, or just trouble handling stress. I could take that route as to why we have the two together.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
That's awesome.
However you want.
Let's do it.
Right here.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Do you think drink me water or something? It'll be like 9 to 10. That's 10. Okay. Try and keep it at 10. Good. We'll do. Is the phone ringing? Yeah. Well, and yeah, it's because I haven't given out a phone number. Right. I give out your website. So like, and it's also it's big ask. I mean, it's yeah. I used to have a collision center advertise with me, and they would roll off every 6 months and roll back on again. They got more calls while they were off than when they were on, just because of that. Which I can't make you get in an accident, but if you've got that built-in reminder, that consistency. Oh, and did Tim do a few about the next visit? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm looking to put together a whole Katrina show, and I think the mental aspect of that would be huge. Because I mean, let's go. Okay. Right. But yeah, I got to witness it up close and personal because all the New Orleans radio stations were up here, and I was over at Clear Channel at the time. And I mean, the number of nights I sat talking with Vince Marinello, just getting to be friends with him, and then watching him slowly and then he kills his wife. So. 806 Talk 107.3 FM W. Whoa. Sorry, I caught that short in the headphone again.
Oh, it spiked up?
Yeah. 806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. 'Tis a busy hour, and we're starting off at 78 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. First and foremost, good news is all schools are back in by now. Your kids should probably be at school by now. Wait, whoa. There are 6 exceptions, if I'm not mistaken. That pilot program we're running right here with later starting times. There's 3 high schools, and I'm not going to remember them. Capitol High is one of them. I'm not going to remember the other 2. But aside from the pilot program, everybody should be in school by now. We got a busy hour for you this hour. We're going to wrap things up later on with Joe and Nathan, talk about the Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival. We got our Economic Development Secretary, Susan Bourgeois, coming up in our next segment. Right now, though, I could not be more fired up than I am. I've got Jordan Generes in with me right now. He is with NeuroJust and BioJust. Jordan, welcome back. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
I say welcome back. You haven't been on the show yet, but you did Louisiana Business Weekly a couple weeks ago,
right.
Which I've gotten some decent feedback on that. It's what y'all are doing right now. I want to say groundbreaking, but it's been catching on from around the nation.
Yeah. I mean, I think that our treatment that we do at NeuroJust, which is TMS stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation. The treatment itself is catching on a lot more lately, as in the last 3 to 5 years. That's kind of when I heard about it, and I think it's showing up nationally. Obviously, the big cities are seeing much bigger growth than smaller cities like or mid-market cities like ours. So,
right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's an adaptation period as well because when therapy first started, it took a while to catch on. There's a little stigma to go along with that.
Yep.
Then if the prescriptions aren't for you, that's where you can turn to this form of therapy, which I've been fascinated with since the first time you and I sat down. Let's talk about it a little bit. What is transcranial magnetic stimulation?
Yeah, so it's a fancy word. I mean, the main the basics of it is that we use magnetic energy, right? The same power as an MRI, but it's focused down to a little beam, about 1/2 centimeters wide, so we can be very precise with that energy, and we deliver a series of pulses through the scalp into the brain. All right. Now we target a specific part of the brain that we want to work better. So if you think about it like a tinge unit for your back, something that regulates muscle activity or something along those lines, it's basically doing the same thing, but in a very safe, effective manner by treating a part of the brain to make it work better.
What does it feel like?
It feels like a tinge unit on your scalp, basically, like a twitching, tapping sensation on your scalp. That is the worst part of it. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's not painful at all. Once patients get used to it, they actually fall asleep in the chair while we're doing it. It's pretty benign.
The analogy to the waves that you were telling me when you were on the podcast, the analogy of the waves when you're dealing with anxiety and depression, it is a constant fight or flight in the mind, and that's just exhausting.
Right.
But walk the listener through a little bit of that wave analogy.
Yeah. So I kind of used that analogy last time when we sat down for the Business Weekly, and I use that with my patients, and it resonates pretty well with them. But the bottom line is, these patients, although you probably wouldn't notice as a, outside, friend or acquaintance, that they're inside their brain, it's constantly running, right? And it's constantly running with fight or flight thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's the limbic region of our brain that's sending us those thoughts. And sometimes it's subconsciously doing that. Sometimes it's conscious thoughts that are racing through their brain, but it's a constant onslaught. So everything that a patient with depression, anxiety has to do is so much more overwhelming because they not only have to deal with the project in front of them, the social interaction or whatever it might be, but they also have to battle those numerous intrusive thoughts prior to and during whatever they have to do. Right. So it's just so much more overwhelming, which leads to depression, which is, really lack of motivation, lack of desire to do things because it's too much work. It's too much effort,
When you're in that fight or flight mode, it's even tougher to get out of because you prioritize everything at number one.
Correct.
And everything is like the end all be all. So you have to remain at that level of fight.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about getting through that first few sessions of where you start to realize like there are calmer seas out there.
Yeah, it's funny because it's kind of like for a lot of patients it's their norm, right? So like if you have a weird smell in your house, for example, right, you don't notice it because you live there. This is just your norm. But when patients start to feel those intrusive thoughts dissipate and fall away, it's kind of like this just weight's lifted off of them. And when it takes a certain point through treatment where they finally break through to a point where they're like, oh my gosh, this is how you're supposed to think.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that's how your brain's supposed to operate.
A lot of folks can be fighting anxiety and depression without realizing that's what it is because it just feels like normal life at a certain point.
Yeah, my wife calls it the Sunday scaries for moms that have to deal with the week, right? It's that level of anxiety that builds up and makes you worried about all the things you have to do, but that's, it's not always easily recognized by patients.
What are some things they should be looking out for that can let them know that this would be, a helpful path? What are some things that aren't on the day-to-day where?
Yeah. A very obvious symptom for a lot of patients is trouble sleeping. So it's like trouble falling asleep, trouble staying asleep, or sleeping too much too. I mean, if you just, that's the opposite side with depression sometimes, but that's a very common symptom that people don't realize is a very common symptom of anxiety and depression. Just trouble, enjoying things or looking forward to things or getting motivated to do things. That's a big symptom. Kind of constantly overthinking, ruminating on a situation that happened or what's going on right now. That's a very
walk down that path for just a quick second because how would you we're big on Enneagram around here. How would I know the difference between anxiety and just being an Enneagram 6? Like that constant processing is part of who I am.
Yeah. it's funny. It's hard for patients to realize the difference. And honestly, this is why we have BioJust with NeuroJust. It, there is a level of hormonal stress and imbalances that happen, especially in like perimenopause with women
Mhm.
or low testosterone in men, for example, that cause this level of stress that isn't quite anxiety. It's mimicking anxiety. That we kind of bifurcate the two when you come in. So when we start with a patient, it's more of a sit down with either myself in New Orleans or Metairie or our clinic director in Baton Rouge, Carter. He's fantastic, and we kind of feel the patient out and understand the difference between the symptoms when they started, and it's not necessarily a diagnosis, but we can kind of start the path on which practitioner you should see.
We got 2 minutes left with
Mhm.
Jordan Generes from NeuroJust and BioJust. Walk me through that BioJust end a little bit further there with how the two paired back together, like bring one back to the other.
Yeah, so if you think about NeuroJust, we're treating an imbalance in the brain, right? An imbalance in the brain where your fight or flight is constantly elevated, and the prefrontal cortex, which is basically your center of logic and calm and filtering out those negative intrusive thoughts, is more dormant. It's imbalanced, right? Well, hormonal imbalances are like kerosene for the brain. So either you have depression, anxiety, and it's exacerbating those symptoms. That could happen. Or you have, perimenopause, where you're starting to lose progesterone, which is your calming hormone, and your estrogen is too high. So you start to have that trouble sleeping at night, certain times of the month. Those types of things. Low testosterone. Thyroid plays a big role with anxiety symptoms, depression symptoms. So that's why we have the two together, because they're two sides of the body that kind of contribute to these symptoms. And our whole goal with both is to make you feel the best version of yourself, both physically, mentally, emotionally. Really, that's all we do. So
It's the start of a conversation, and I knew as soon as you were in here, I would want to keep going. But the confines of live radio. Look, check out Louisiana Business Weekly. Jordan was on with me and takes a much deeper dive into it there. And you're going to be a regular around here. We're going to have many, many conversations moving forward because it plays into our lives on a regular basis. Oftentimes, things we don't even realize on a day-to-day basis. So Jordan Generes with NeuroJust. NeuroJust.com is the website if you want to check it out. Learn a little bit more about BioJust as well. I got to squeeze in one more question because this is one that a listener gave to me.
Okay.
That I had a horrible answer for, and I want you to give a better answer. How can something external in the brain affect it internally?
Well,
my answer to him was, you know how a good song can make you feel better for a minute?
Right.
Elongate that.
Right. So we're placing the device externally, right? We're placing it right up against the scalp, right? But ultrasound, right? If you use an ultrasound wand, it actually the ultrasound waves go internal, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the magnetic pulses. So you can't see the magnetic pulses, the energy, but you can feel it. You know it's happening. Right. We actually, when you first get treated, we actually test your motor cortex, which controls your hand. So you can actually see in the first treatment before we start, when we dose you, that is actually stimulating a part of your brain and controlling your hand. So you can see how we actually stimulate neurons. We only do it once just to test to see what your dose needs to be of magnetic pulses to reach the depth of the brain we want to get. So the coil's on the outside, but the energy that we're providing that trains the brain, that basically paces that part of the brain and makes it work, that goes internal. So
much better answer than I was giving for sure.
Yeah.
Jordan, greatly appreciate it. We'll have you back on very soon.
Great being here.
We got to talk economic development. I cannot wait to talk economic development. 9 by 90. We're talking about it with Susan Bourgeois next. Oh, man. Good stuff.
Yeah. Great as always. Really enjoyed it.
Taylor crept in on the back end.
Yeah. I saw you out of the corner of my eye.
I didn't want to interrupt anything.
Yeah, that's okay.
Had kindergarten drop off today. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, you said school started.
Yeah, school started for you too.
Today.
Yeah.
Let him out.
Yeah, let him go. Sounded good though.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Listening to in the car.
Yeah. This is going to be an easy conversation. So he's on board for Katrina.
Yeah,
I can do that.
Cool. I think that'd be great.
I see a lot of it. I mean, especially in New Orleans mostly, but I see a lot of patients. Basically, when did your meds start? 05, 06. Right then, right after Katrina, and that's when they really kind of, they were down here, and then they kind of fell off the cliff.
Yeah, we'll get the time worked out and stuff.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Whenever
we'll
you
do
get
that.
it.
I'll follow up with that next week. I owe everybody interview times right now. I got to duck Ellen for the first half of the day today, so I owe her like 6 of them.
I won't tell her I saw you.
No. I'm going up there right after the show.
We'll be flexible.
With-
The patient coming in, whenever y'all just get us that early, the dates, so I can plan out with the patient.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be the first call, the first half of September.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can get us a date that works, and we'll get it to her and confirm.
Done and done.
Later, brother.
Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate it, man.
You have to drive anyway. I wouldn't have been able to leave anyway.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing good.
Got one more conversation to knock out, then coming your way.
Sounds great.
See, this is all autofill, and Susan's just sitting there. This, damn it. This is like, this isn't a paid spot. It's just filler. This sucks. Is this the last one?
I could delete him.
Hey, I'm blowing past news too.
Okay.
That's $8:22, $8:21. We're running long right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Let's waste no more time at all. We've got our Economic Development Secretary, Susan Bourgeois, on the hotline, and well, she doesn't sit still very long at all. So let's get her in here. Susan, how are you this morning?
I'm well, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I apologize for pushing back. We've been running a little bit long this morning. I appreciate your patience and flexibility right there.
No problem.
Let's start with the 9x90. What's this all about?
So, I think last time I was on the show, we talked about how one of the important pieces of the restructure of our department that the governor gave us the marching orders very quickly on was that we needed to create a strategic plan for Louisiana and for Louisiana economic development. So we did that, right? And the overarching piece of that plan came out to be to build the most robust, innovative, and dynamic economy in the Southeast, right?
Yes.
So great. That is a smart, aspirational goal. But we internally here at the department went, what does that mean really for the next 18 months for our entire team to be working on day in and day out to move the needle towards that? So we created, I like catchy names and things that are easy to follow and easy to understand. Next year, LED as an organization will be 90 years old. So that's the 90. And we identified 9 key programmatic areas, goals, successes, if you will, that we intend to achieve by the end of next year, hence 9x90.
All right, let's walk through them, each one at a time. What are the 9 goals?
So first and foremost, formalizing a whole of government approach to economic development in Louisiana. LED can't and shouldn't exist purely in a vacuum. Our projects are successful when permitting is alongside of us. So DEQ and Department of Energy and Natural Resources as well, or roads are being built. So Department of Transportation alongside of us. So really formalizing that process inside of state government to make sure we're working efficiently. The number two one is one probably of everything I'm going to talk to you about today, the one I'm most excited about. But it is called the Louisiana Opportunity Campaign. When we did this plan, Brian, this won't surprise a lot of your listeners, but the good consultants that we paid to do this plan did a brand test for us, and what they determined was that the Louisiana reputation was actually better outside of Louisiana than it was inside of Louisiana. And so the recommendation is for us to do really a campaign to talk about the success and the opportunity that exists here in Louisiana so that the world knows about it, but just as importantly, people inside of Louisiana know about it. So a 14 and a 15-year-old knows, wait a minute, I do have an opportunity to get a good education here, to get a certificate or get a 4-year degree, right, and to get a job that's going to provide a great wage and a high quality of life for me and my family. We have a responsibility to tell that story better, and so the Louisiana Opportunity Campaign will do just that.
Well, I want to stick with this one for just a minute, if we could, Susan. Our Economic Development Secretary, Susan Bourgeois, is with us. This involves not just implementing things like plans, but it involves breaking mindsets as well. We tend to be negative about ourselves, just as a people. That's what we do. How do we break mindsets to go along with that?
So 100%. And Brian, frankly, if we don't talk about another thing in this 9x90 campaign, you and I could talk about this for this whole segment because, to your point, we are our own worst detractors oftentimes, right? We are the amplifiers of the negative. We are the ones who tell the story or wring our hands in a way that make it sound like, this is Louisiana's lot in life as though it's a negative thing. And if you actually look at the reality of Louisiana's assets, of Louisiana's opportunity, of Louisiana's both physical, geographical position, but also our geopolitical position, we are incredibly well positioned.
Yep.
We are rich with assets, be they natural assets or just infrastructure from our legacy industries. So, at the end of the day, somebody's got to take the responsibility for telling the story. And that's sort of, for the last 18 months, what I've been telling the legislature is somebody's got to do it. Let us do it. Let us do it. Hold us accountable for it. The lieutenant governor does a great job of marketing this state for fun, for culture, for history, right? For tourism, to get visitors to come here. But part of that message is that we are laissez-faire, right? That we know how to have a good time. And all those things are absolutely true. We don't do a good job showing the other side of that coin, where we show we are also serious. We also have an incredible work ethic, right? Our culture comes with a work ethic that if I could bottle it, I could sell it, right? So it's coupling those messages and making sure that we're getting that out, again, to an audience, a worldwide audience, because we want people to come here, bring their businesses here, and bring their money here, their investment. But we have to get that message out to our people as well.
It reminds me of the early days of Nick Saban taking over LSU's football program. I used to refer to it as catastrophe syndrome. And breaking us of that habit was important on the football field. Let's see it happen in business as well. What else we got?
All right. So still going down the list, there are a lot of people who like this next number, number 3, which is elevating our focus on existing Louisiana businesses, right? While this department will always be about attracting new, we have to be, it's part of our role, right? We love our Meta announcement. We love our Hyundai announcement. Mm-hmm. We are doubling down on our efforts to make sure we are supporting and investing in the very businesses that already exist in Louisiana, that are already making payrolls here, that are already, right, spending their money here and investing their both intellectual capital and their hard work in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. So we are reformatting our business development plans to make sure that segment of our business population is getting as much attention as any outsider we're trying to attract.
It's also a great recruiting tool to take care of your own. I mean, Hyundai's got to do business with somebody once they get here.
That's exactly right. It's an ecosystem, and you can't just pay attention to one or two of the big trees in the ecosystem, right? You have to take care of the whole rainforest.
Very good.
So that's our number 3. Our number 4, we're calling it investing in Louisiana's long game. You know, it has been historically in Louisiana, both at LED and in many departments, right? We go to the legislature every year and say, here's what I need to be successful. Here's how much money, you know, sort of hat in hand, here's how much money I need this year. Mm-hmm. Well, what we are doing is we're developing programs that have an identified return on investment. And I don't mean just what we do every day. When we incentivize a company to come here, that has an ROI. It has to be documented. I mean, even the more specific things like investing in sites and infrastructure, right? When we go make an investment in a site or in a road that makes a site more valuable, what is the direct return to the state for that? Do we have an equity position? Do we have a revenue stream? And really just trying to make sure where the money we're spending today has a direct return on the back end. And that also includes making sure we're deploying venture capital into Louisiana's small and scalable businesses. Because I got to tell you, the businesses that leave here, the ones that sell, right, the ones that are born here, thought of here, right, birthed here, when they reach a certain stage, the historical pattern has been private equity from Dallas, private equity from Atlanta, private equity from Silicon Valley or the East Coast comes in, buys them, and they leave.
Dallas,
we have to do, yeah.
So Dallas and Atlanta, you're hitting home with restaurants. I mean, how many times have we seen with the Canes, with the walk-ons, we'll go all the way back to Popeyes if we need to. But Dallas and Atlanta, that's where we lose our restaurants to.
That's exactly right, and we could do a long list of those. But truth be told, if we don't have the venture capital and we don't have the capital to invest in those companies to keep them here, right? They do what is natural in the free market system. Yep. They follow the capital and they follow the capital base for that. So we have to focus on increasing the capital here to invest in those startup and those scalable size companies. So that is part of that platform. Mm-hmm. The next one is what we're calling ease of use, right? It's not just for LED in our department, it's really for government. But for these purposes, let's talk about how this department needs to create an ease of use for businesses, for growing businesses, for attracting businesses that simply make it easy for a business to come to Louisiana, get underway, and get profitable quickly. And so there are 2 or 3 milestones we have under that include better technology inside of the department, physically moving our offices outside of a very adequate yet cumbersome state office building that is just simply hard for people to get to and get into, right? We're moving a part of our team to what we're calling our innovation center, which has a very both user-friendly and optimistic and promoting the image we want to promote as a state. So ease of use is that next big piece.
Love that.
The next one is what we're calling whole of Louisiana engagement, right? We said whole of government first and that all of government had to be pulling on the rope. Well, frankly, all of Louisiana needs to be pulling on the rope too, and we have partners that want to do this with us. Where the private sector comes to us all the time and says, hey, look, I have a business lead that might want to open a company or might want to start a manufacturing facility in Louisiana, and I don't know what to do with it. Well, we need to put processes in place to make it easy for our regional partners, our private sector partners, our education partners, you name it, to feed into the work of LED. So that is our next one.
Empowering people to take their own action. That's
exactly right. And giving them the tools to do it, right?
Yeah.
We have to make it easy for them to do it. Yes. So that's our role, is create the tools, create the ways for them to do it, and then empower them to do it. 2, 3 more things real quick. Ensuring Louisiana's competitive advantage. It's constantly keeping a line of sight as to what are the things that are our competitive advantages, but as importantly, where are our risks, right? Where are our Achilles that if we don't get a hold of, and they're not necessarily directly related to what one would think is direct economic development, right? It could be things like, we hear this all the time, like litter and beautification, right? I can attract a CEO to come to meet with us, to go tour a site, to look at the assets in Louisiana. And if they're driving down a road that's full of litter, That's hard to combat.
It is.
Right. So it's a completely unrelated but very related, right, competitive advantage or disadvantage. So always keeping a line of sight as to what those both opportunities and Achilles are.
Mm-hmm.
Second to last, we're calling it maximizing our project pipeline. We have here's the great problem to have. Right now inside of our department, we almost have too many leads to work. That's how many opportunities we feel like are before us. But how do we very practically work through that list to identify what are the high value targets? What is the most viable project to get here? How do we sort of work smarter, not harder, with a limited state agency? Adding more government staff is not our answer. That's not what we're looking to do. We're looking to how do we maximize that pipeline so we know that the bottom of that funnel are the big payoffs. And then the last thing is that we will and intend to have pretty aggressive leadership in innovation and AI, right? There's no denying that the future of the world economy is based on innovation and AI. And so why would Louisiana give that away to any other state, right? We are going to force ourselves to the front of that conversation and the front of that line. We can announce metas all day long, and the physical infrastructure is important, and we're grateful for it. But if we're not developing programs that actually take that innovation and take those technology platforms and implement them, right, really sort of road test them, then we're giving that away to another state to do it. And so we're not giving that away. We're going to be in the front of the line for that.
Right.
So those are our 9 by 90, incredibly aggressive, but we intend to get there.
Each one of these is going to be an individual segment, so get ready to hear from me a whole lot because I'm fascinated by all of them, to say the least. She is Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois. I kept you past 8:30. I know I promised to get you out by 8:30, but since we started late, I kept you late. Thank you so much for hopping on board today, and I can't wait for the next conversation.
Happy to talk always. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. We blew right past ABC News. I do not care. Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival. We'll talk about it next. Yeah, there was no stopping that. I'm That's our feature for today, by the way. And the headline reads, Susan Bourgeois discusses 9 by 90. Come on in, guys.
Great to see you.
Everything coming together?
Oh, yeah.
Big time. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Looking forward to telling you about it.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah. It's shaping up perfectly. We got to get butts and seats. That's the main thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think currently. Yeah. But yeah, we're looking for whatever's recommended, man. We'll get some stuff out there for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
That's sponsoring our traffic report? I mean, I guess so. It's a books on tape.
I was
That
about
makes
to say.
sense. Audible books. You're stuck in traffic.
Yeah, get a little steamy.
Yeah, why not? There's a guy who does. He's on TikTok. He's probably on other platforms as well, but he will listen to erotic books at like the gas station with his windows down, really, really loud, just to see people's reactions. And I don't mean like romance novels. I mean erotic books.
No. I think that line's gotten pretty blurred lately.
Probably.
I'm glad he's still rocking that song, man. That's my childhood.
Did you see the video going around of the Blue Bayou?
Yeah.
Like the classic.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Baton Rouge movies shot there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Middle of Nowhere with Anton Yelchin and Susan Sarandon.
Cool. I don't think I know that one.
It's like a little slice of life indie one about like Anton Yelchin and Susan Sarandon's daughter like trying to sell enough stuff that they can get her to college. It's like a cute little movie.
Just walking through the water park or something?
Well, they work there. The
Oh,
summer
okay,
job
okay.
kind of thing. Like the classic indie setup.
Yeah. We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
I did it again. It's. I get Bo in here. It's 840. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. 2 weeks from today, the Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival gets underway. Unfortunate rhyme right there. Joining me now to talk about it with a little update, we got Joe and Nathan. Fellas, how are you?
Doing all right. Thanks for having us.
Not glad to have you back on here. How's things coming together? We got 2 weeks to go. Is it mass panic yet?
Right now, we're just excited for people to come and see what we've got coming together. It's going to be a really cool event.
What have we got coming together?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 4-day event, August 21st through 24th. We're kicking things off with Visit Baton Rouge, unveiling the Baton Rouge Film Trail. Installing that. Then we're going to have the open night gala, screening of Schizopolis that's been remastered, Steven Soderbergh's film. We're gonna have a bunch of locals there, and then we're going to have feature films, shorts, workshops, panels, and parties throughout the entire rest of the week.
Very, very cool stuff. Let's start with the trail. Let's start with the teaming up with Visit Baton Rouge. What are we expecting here? What is this going to look like?
It's really cool. Visit Baton Rouge, Film Baton Rouge have been working on this for a hot second, and it's finally coming together. You can download the Set Shutters app. There's already almost 200 locations available on there that you can go spot, like filming locations around town. But throughout the year, you're going to see physical plaques put up around the city that highlight some of the major filming locations, and you can see the first one at the Manship Theater.
Okay. What was filmed at the Manship Theater?
All sort of stuff. But also Pitch Perfect, Zipper, National Treasure, Edge of History, and even more. I mean, I could go on an endless list there, and I'm sure that it doesn't even include the full list on the plaque because so many movies have filmed there.
Right.
But it's one of the icons of the area, and people love to go film in that venue.
I'm not going to ask you for like all the stops along the way, but what are a few of the other highlights?
Of the festival itself?
No, of the trail.
So that's going to be the first one installed, and then there's going to be another one at Celtic coming pretty soon.
Okay.
And then you can see some at some of the major icons throughout the city. You'll see some at LSU. You'll see some at Southern University. You'll see some downtown. Because a lot of times the places that the places that films like to go to, multiple films go to. You know. So
Right. And there's
the icons
good reason for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is going to be awesome because I mean, it was like here in Baton Rouge. We we see the signs when they're posted out there, and they've all got their code words and whatever, so we don't know what's being filmed, blah blah blah. But we know something's going on, with an arrow pointing that way, right? So picking up on it after the fact to say this is what happened at this spot at this, it's one that's coming to mind for me right now is like out by the Capitol, the cannons
Yeah,
the toy.
yeah.
The toy would have been out by the. I'm just guessing. That's gonna be along the tour.
Yeah, the toy will be featured in at least one of the plaques. I can't say for sure which one, but yes, and also the Set Jetters app has some of those locations already up on there.
Very cool stuff. You mentioned Soderbergh's film Schizopolis.
Yeah.
I had never heard of this movie.
Yeah, so I can tell you a little bit about it. It's a very kind of strange art house sort of movie. He made it when he came back to his hometown, Baton Rouge. He basically thought that he was going to maybe take a break from filmmaking, and instead he made this like surreal Dadaist masterpiece with his local friends. So it was shot, written, directed, produced, edited by him, and he's also the lead. And then you can also see actors like David Jensen and Joe Kress and a few other local legends that are part of it as well. Yeah, it's going to be cool because a lot of the people that worked on it are also going to be in attendance for that screening, and they're also going to do a little Q&A afterwards.
Okay, very cool stuff. Walk us past once we're done with the first night, with 2 weeks from tonight, some of the workshops and whatnot. Who are we looking for to attend this thing?
Yeah, so we've got some incredible panels and workshops, and we're gearing that element of the festival towards people that are starting their filmmaking career. Right, we wanted to make sure that the festival has a lot of great opportunities for developing your career and getting some of those fundamentals. If you're not sure, how do I get involved? How do I get connected with the film industry in Baton Rouge and Louisiana at large? This is the place to be to do that. We've got Panavision coming through for a workshop, Novak, it's a crew training workshops, and we've also got Ziggy's Arts Adventure doing a filmmaking with puppets workshop, which will be a lot of fun.
Okay.
And also wanted to highlight that we have Film Louisiana coming to speak on the changes to our state's film incentives. And so that's not just for people that are looking to get into the industry. This will be the first major film festival that will have like some coverage about what you can expect in the changes to our incentive program.
So, we made it through the session. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on a new page, but this is a perfect place to come learn about what this new chapter entails.
Well, and since it's ever evolving, and you got to keep up with other states. I had Justin Bartha on the show.
Oh yeah,
who has filmed here in Louisiana a couple times.
National Treasure.
National Treasure, right here in Baton Rouge, and he did the Matthew McConaughey movie down in New Orleans, Naked Terry Bradshaw, Failure to Launch.
That also shot here.
That was
just
up here
briefly,
okay.
Just briefly, but it did shoot here too.
But I'd mentioned about filming in Louisiana, and he said, we go where the tax credits are, man.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's roll.
Yeah, that's the main reason that Center's filmed in Louisiana and New Orleans and also in Donaldsonville is straight up just because of the incentives. The director even went online to say that's the reason why.
See, John, he low-key reminded me that I still haven't seen Centers.
Oh, good movie. You should definitely check it out.
He told me I need to be on board.
It's phenomenal.
And again, it's shot in Donaldsonville, so it also is part of the greater Baton Rouge narrative as well.
Does Donaldsonville look like Donaldsonville in the movie?
Parts of it, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, because we've seen downtown Baton Rouge transform so many times to something that's just completely different, to the point where like you could have green screened the whole thing. Like
but don't film it in Baton Rouge.
No, absolutely. For sure. We got Joe and Nathan talk about the upcoming Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival. What so you got the panels, the workshops going on Friday, Saturday, and on into Sunday as well. What are we looking for right now? What's still on the list, the punch list before things kick off? What do y'all need?
That's a great question. I mean, we've got these really fantastic galas and parties that we're doing, and really what we need is we want everybody to know that this is an opportunity to come and celebrate art, not only film specifically, but we're also going to have an art market where you can get some great local art from artists. And we just what we really need, the only thing that's left is for people to show up and enjoy the festival and be a great participant.
We have 10 feature films, 40 short films playing at the festival. Over half of them are Baton Rouge or Louisiana based. Come celebrate local filmmakers and support the culture, the arts, and the economy with the Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival.
How do folks take part? Where do they need to go? What do they need to know?
You can go to our website, and you can go to the Manship Theater to get passes and tickets, and that's kind of the main way to access
BatonRougeUnderground.com.
Yeah, and you can also follow us on Baton Rouge Underground. We're doing some giveaways for passes on the upcoming days.
On Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the BatonRougeUnderground.com, right there on the homepage, it says "Welcome Underdogs." Is that the theme here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a film festival that's celebrating maybe people that don't normally get the spotlight.
Right.
And I think that's kind of Baton Rouge, too. We've had movies filming here for over 100 years, but we really are right on the spotlight of, like, showcasing how much film is a part of our culture, and that's what we're trying to celebrate.
How difficult is the path of working with New Orleans versus, like, you talk about filming in Louisiana, everybody brings up New Orleans. We're in that mix as well. We've paid our dues. We've done our part. We've shown that we can do this and do it successfully here. But at the same time, though, you don't want to lose the collaboration. You don't want to lose the partnership.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of talented New Orleans filmmakers that are part of the festival and are also screening their work there. I mean, and then talking about just like the economy. When New Orleans is doing well in film, Baton Rouge is doing well in film. We're tied together.
The rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, absolutely. BatonRougeUnderground.com is the website. Right there on the homepage, above where it says "Welcome Underdogs," in the upper right-hand corner, little green tab says "Get Passes." Go to BatonRougeUnderground.com, get passes. Fellas, thank you all so much for a couple quick minutes this morning. Looking forward to it, man. The countdown's on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Always. We're coming up on 850 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, which means we need to check your money now. Also means we're going to go ahead and check traffic on the back end of that. We will come back and close things out right after that. Oh, I do need to remind you, though, about free groceries for a year. Nothing wrong with free groceries for a year, y'all. We're making your groceries for the entire year. And if you don't win the grand prize, we're awarding the second chance prizes of $250 gift cards to High Neighbor Supermarkets. Free groceries for a year. Go to talk1073.com. Our friends over at Citizens Bank and Trust are putting this together with us. Register now on our website, talk1073.com.
All right.
And speaking of you being excited to come, got your badge.
Awesome.
This will get you into everything.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm going to be all over this thing. I know, like, I appreciate the art end of it, but I'm all about the business end of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's equally part of it. I mean, we're using this as a platform to bring filmmakers to come explore our area, too. I mean, that's a huge reason why we did the film festival in the first place, is so we can showcase our area and our community. One of our key partners is Celtic Studios. We're trying to build to make sure that filmmakers are going to check out that. We have locals that are connected to other producers that are on other films, and they're kind of meetings and network while they're there. It's going to be a big business and networking side of the industry as well.
Very, very cool stuff. Yeah, finance panel.
Yeah.
And all
There's also going to be a movie that's a feel-bad sports film I think you'd like.
A what?
A feel-bad sports film.
Feel-bad sports?
Yeah, yeah. It actually played at, it's an awesome movie. It's one of the best ones playing at the festival. It's called Fanboy, and follows a young man that kind of comes to his father's alma mater to just watch a season of the game, and then kind of realizes that he actually hates the college culture around the sport. And so it's kind of him in a social horror situation of loving the game but hating the community around it. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's one of the really cool movies playing at the festival.
It's like when you like a band but you don't like their fan base.
Exactly.
No, but I'm in my mind, I'm equating all the NIL culture going on. Right?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Is that where this heads?
I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a very kind of fun, cool. It's like anti-Rudy.
Okay, well then that's probably not where it's.
Yeah, but it is a very cool movie. I can make a shout out a few other ones, but I thought you might like the sports angle of that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go. Here for it.
We also have a time travel movie. We got French language film. We got a movie about a 40-year-old man going back to high school to become the senior class president. We got a little bit of something for everyone.
So that's so 80s.
yeah, it's very Happy Gilmore coded.
That's Billy Madison.
Yeah. And then we have one movie that blew up at South by Southwest and has been doing very well at the entire festival circuit. And they actually shot partially here in Baton Rouge, and that's also be playing at the festival. But as a title, I can't say on the air.
All good. All good. That's all the more reason to come out.
Yeah.
Can y'all make room morning of Thursday or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
Thursday's event is just
one more.
an evening.
Yeah.
So
So like one more quick hit as a last second reminder. I mean, I'm sure there'll be room for people still to get in.
Yeah. We're imagining that people will be coming up buying tickets like the day of as well.
So I would like to refresh top of mind.
Yeah.
So
like same time or different time zone.
let me follow up with that. And yes, John, I've been promising people shit that I can't deliver.
It's okay.
So I just did this with a sponsor the first segment of the hour, and then the LED secretary had to wait on hold for 10 friggin' minutes. So
No worries.
So
Sounds great.
let me be sure of the right time and all that, and we'll get it squared away.
And then you were asking about the film trail, so just a reminder that it's 5:30 on Thursday that day. So that's like kind of like our kickoff event.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Soderbergh. Sex Lies and Videotape was his
Yeah, I mean, that's like in many ways our big crowning jewel of our community of the movie shot here.
We're seeing about doing something with that later on in the year. So it's like kind of like a satellite event for the festival.
Okay.
But
Gearing up for the second
as right now,
year,
we're kind of celebrating Skitsopoulos because it's kind of the weirdo movie that he made, which fits in with our weirdo.
So
film
I saw
festival.
Skitsopoulos on y'all's website.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it before. I Googled it separately, and one of the first comments, one of the first things that comes up, somebody says, I want to meet Steven Soderbergh so he can explain this movie.
Well, actually, before the screening of the film, we're gonna have someone read a letter from filmmaker Mike Nichols, telling Soderbergh what he thought about it and kind of like what it meant to him. So we will have kind of like a preface that kind of helps you get in the mindset for this sort of inscrutable film that was shot in our area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here for it. Let's go. Awesome, y'all.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
I'll email you.
Awesome. I appreciate the support.
Always.
Yeah. August 21st to 24th.
Because I acted in a few short films last year.
Look and see. You might be playing at the festival. Yeah.
Well, not here. I live in Virginia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, it does accept submissions from around the world, so next year definitely tell us filmmakers to submit.
I am like 19 live reads behind. This show has been way too flippin' fast. All right, I'm gonna knock. I'll do Matherns and Vex here. I'm just gonna have to owe Louisiana Travel a spot. No, I'm gonna do Matherns, a news story, and then Vex. Can you grab me 13, 14, and 15, please? Yep. And you only played Back to School once.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to call for it.
No, I said play it once, and then I want to hear it regularly throughout the show. Cue it up real quick, and I'll call for it after Matherns. 8:56, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Told y'all this was going to be a busy hour. It's been a busy, we've been slammed all show, man. It has been fire. By the way, take you back to the 7 o'clock hour, where Mark Olsen and Chris Kienzle came on talking about the merger of EMS and BRPD or BRFD, the fire department. That is the beginning of that conversation. There's going to be so much more to come. I got so much reaction in like real time. They kicked over an anthill here for sure. And at the end of the day, what has been proposed so far, change is needed somehow. We can't keep doing the same over and over again and expecting a different result when it comes to Baton Rouge's budget. And I think the guys were open to that. Anyway, also on top of everything else today, it is back to school. School's back in. As of, hit it, John. Hit it.
I'll be there when you get it right. That's the beauty of living my life. Hold on, baby, I'm taking you back to school.
All right, JP, keep it going, but I need you commenting. Do you know where this is from? Would you have known where this was from without the link that I sent you?
Aside from the music video, though, because I think it gives it away.
The music video does give it away.
First person I see is Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Dangerfield, so. Yeah.
So if your takeaway from this is, Brian, why are you playing back to school for grade school when this is about college? Don't worry, we're going to do it again when LSU lets back in. When you think about back to school music, it's like, what do you get? Like,
honestly, I think of the White Stripes.
Okay,
we're going to be friends.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But like, normally when you think about school music, you think about like,
or Deftones.
I don't know that one at all.
Yeah, Deftones, Back to School.
All right.
A little heavier. I don't know if we'd play that.
But this is the most fun one.
That is fun.
It's fun.
This is good.
So I'll take that all day long. Got to remind you about the folks over at Matherns. Download the Matherns Rewards app today, and I'll tell you about that now. Why? Because football season's just around the corner. If it's back to school time, it's darn near football time as well. And Matherns is right there on campus. They're directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. If you've got the Matherns Rewards app, you can earn cash towards more groceries every time you shop at Matherns. And, oh, by the way, when it comes to tailgating, hit up their catering menu. Here's the pro tip right here. Take a little bit off of your load there and let Matherns help you out. Because of where they're at on campus, easy peasy to get to you on game day. And they've got new specials, new feature coupons every single week, plus earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop at Matherns. Do we physically have enough time to talk hurricane season?
You can do it in 30 seconds.
I don't think I can. Dr. Klotzbach over at Colorado State, you heard this in our news at the bottom of the hour. They're predicting, it is August 7th, they're predicting at least a dozen more named storms over the remainder of the hurricane season. Cut 13.
Of those 8, 3 becoming major Category 3, 4, 5 hurricanes. Those are hurricanes with winds of 111 miles per hour or greater. That's slightly above the long-term average of 14 storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes.
I don't know, man. Look, I'm not ready to start taunting the season just yet, but we've gotten through Dexter, and Dexter proved to be a big fat nothing. There's a system off the Atlantic coast that's got a 10% chance, and another system that's going to be a fish storm that's got a 60% chance. So, all right, we're out of here. Moon's next.
All right.
Facebook, that was a whirlwind. I apologize. I was rather non-existent on Facebook this morning. I've got, like, if I'm being 100% transparent, that EMS interview, like, blew my shit up. So, I've got some, dude, like, no lie, right now I have 22 text messages to respond to.
Okay.
And that's not even looking at my damn social medias. So, yeah, that mission freaking accomplished with that. But no, it gets the ball rolling. It gets the conversation started. Like, how can we fix our budget? Is this going to be uncomfortable? Yes. Embrace the uncomfortable. If every time you go to the gym, you walk away comfortable, you didn't do shit. Go back and lift something. Push yourself. Make it hurt. It's good that we have a coach as a mayor, because all these analogies make sense. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Rocco's in the house.